He stole my tickets, came to ruin my life, but that was not enough, and he took away something I cannot live without. Jake is, let's just say he's the type of guy who causes damage and somehow walks away with applause. He's never held down a steady job, crashed more cars than anyone I know, and still, somehow, my parents treat him like he's a misunderstood genius. Meanwhile, I've done everything by the book. Got my degree, worked my way up, saved every cent to pay for the entire wedding myself, down to the last fork on the table. I didn't ask for anything from my parents except one thing: keep Jake in check. One day. That's all I wanted. But the morning of the wedding, I got a text from my cousin. Dude, Jake's already here, and he's not sober. I read it twice. Heart dropped. I was still getting my suit on when I got the call from my best man, Adam. Ryan, you need to come outside. Now. I walked outside and there he was. Jake, shirt wrinkled, eyes bloodshot, arguing with one of my groomsmen in full view of the guests. Apparently, he tried to flirt with one of the bridesmaids, my wife's close friend, and when she shut him down, he got aggressive. Adam stepped in and Jake swung at him. I pulled him aside fast, told him he needed to leave. He reeked, slurred. All he could say was, "Why do you always get the perfect life? You think you're better than me?" Then he shoved me. Security was called. They dragged him out, screaming. My guests watched it happen from behind the windows. That was 30 minutes before the ceremony. My parents? Silent. Nowhere. Didn't check on me. Didn't check on Jake. Didn't even ask what happened. When they showed up for the ceremony, they looked at me like I had embarrassed them. My own mom whispered, "You could have handled it better." The ceremony went on, but I could feel it. Everyone could. The tension. My wife's eyes darting between mine and the empty chair Jake was supposed to sit in. And just when I thought we had made it through, the reception hit. Music started. Speeches began. Then out of nowhere, Jake walked in. He had changed clothes, cleaned up, smiling. I didn't even know he was back until I saw him holding the microphone. He wasn't on the list to speak. No one gave him permission. But he stood up in front of a room full of my friends, coworkers, and new in-laws and said, "Let me tell you what it's like growing up in Ryan's shadow." What followed was 10 minutes of him mocking me. My wife. He said she picked me for stability, not love. Called me boring. Said he should have been the one people celebrated. The room was frozen. And then my wife stood up and left. I chased after her. Found her in the hallway crying. She thought I let him do it. That it was some kind of inside joke. It took 10 minutes to convince her I had nothing to do with it. We came back, forced smiles. But the mood was dead. The dance floor stayed empty. People left early. The wedding we spent a year planning? Crushed in one night. I went to my parents that night and said, "How could you let him back in?" My dad shrugged. My mom said he just wanted to be part of it. But they weren't done. Not even close. I didn't sleep that night. My wife stayed silent the whole ride back to the hotel. I could see it in her face. This wasn't just about Jake's speech. It was about trust. About me not protecting our day from the one person I swore wouldn't ruin it. And the sickest part? I agreed with her. I failed. I saw it coming and still couldn't stop it. The next morning, I called my parents. Asked them to meet me in the hotel lobby. They showed up like nothing was wrong. My mom even smiled. "Did you two have a good night?" "A good night?" After Jake turned our wedding into a circus? I told them straight, "You knew he was drunk. You let him back in. You didn't stop him." My dad leaned back like he was tired of hearing it. "Ryan, it's done. You're married. Why are you still making drama?" I couldn't believe it. They acted like I was the one overreacting. We had booked our honeymoon for the following week, a 7-day, all-inclusive trip to Maui. I'd spent months organizing it. Paid for everything. It was supposed to be our reset button. Our peace after all the chaos. 2 days after the wedding, I got a call from the airline. "Hi, Mr. Carter, we're calling to confirm the name change for your reservation. Just wanted to double-check, should we transfer both tickets to Jacob Carter and Melissa Carter?" I was standing in our kitchen when I got the call. I thought it was a joke. "No," I said. "That's not correct. I'm Ryan Carter. Those are my tickets. Who authorized a change?" The rep paused. It was requested and approved through our customer line. They had all the booking info. I hung up, shaking. Called my parents instantly. My mom answered. "Oh good, you called. We were actually just going to tell you Tell me what?" I asked. "That you gave my honeymoon away?" She said, "Your brother needed a break. We thought it would be a good way for him to cool down after everything. We didn't think you'd mind. You and your wife seemed like you needed time apart anyway." Time apart? My wife was in the next room, still packing, still expecting to leave in the morning. They didn't even tell me. They just handed it to him, without asking. I couldn't even speak. I hung up again, walked into the bedroom and sat down on the edge of the bed. My wife looked at me, confused. What's wrong? I had to tell her the trip was gone. She thought I was lying. Then I showed her the call log, the email confirmation they sent. She stared at it for so long I started to think she was frozen. And then she said one sentence I'll never forget. Your family doesn't respect you. And now they've disrespected me too. I didn't know what to say. What could I say? We were supposed to be on a beach in 24 hours. Instead, we sat in silence while my brother packed sunscreen and swim trunks for a trip that wasn't his. The worst part? I saw them post pictures. My mom, my dad, Jake, on the plane, in the hotel, on the beach. My honeymoon became his vacation. They smiled like nothing happened. No mention of us. No apology. Just captions like, "So proud of our son," and "He deserves this break." He deserved it? For what? Ruining my wedding? Embarrassing my wife? Making everything about him? And here's what'll make your jaw drop. My parents paid the resort to upgrade his room to a suite. With money I gave them last Christmas, as a gift, so they could treat themselves. Now they were treating him, and I was sitting at home watching my marriage start with betrayal. Not from my wife, but from my own blood. Jake got back, and brought something home that set everything on fire. Jake came back from the honeymoon tanned, smug, and somehow more arrogant than before. I tried to avoid him. I told my parents we weren't ready to talk. My wife, she refused to even mention his name. We canceled what was left of our honeymoon days, stayed local, tried to breathe. But every time I opened social media, there he was on my trip in my suite, living like he earned it. 3 days after he landed, my parents invited us over for a family dinner. I said no. My wife said absolutely not. But then Jake texted me out of nowhere. "Got something for you. Trust me, you'll want to see it." It was the first time he'd spoken to me since the wedding. Against my better judgment, I went. Alone. Big mistake. I got to my parents' house. Jake was already there, waiting at the dining table like he owned the place. My mom smiled and said, "Isn't it nice to have both our boys back together?" I didn't even sit down. I just said, "What do you want?" Jake grinned and pulled out his phone, opened the photo gallery, swiped a few times, turned the screen to me, and there it was, my wife, in a bikini, on the beach, alone. "Recognize that?" he said. "That was taken the day before your wedding." I blinked. "What are you talking about?" He zoomed in. "That's her, right? You know what's weird? I didn't take this photo." My blood turned to ice. "What do you mean?" He leaned back, all casual. "I met someone in Maui. Cool guy. Bartender. Turns out he just came back from a trip here, where he met your wife. Said she was friendly. Real friendly. Showed me the pictures. Asked if I knew her. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Are you saying?" Jake cut me off. "I'm saying maybe you don't know her as well as you think. But hey, congrats on the wedding." He tossed the phone on the table. "Now here's the part that twists your gut. I knew the beach. The one in the picture. I recognized it because it was near a resort I was planning to book months ago. I'd shown my wife the pics when we were discussing options. She told me she'd never been to that part of the islands. That was her exact wording. But now here she was in that exact spot. And Jake, smirking, holding the knife and twisting it. I grabbed the phone, sent the photo to myself, and left without saying a word. Got home. Showed her the image. She froze, just like she did the day I told her the trip was canceled. Then she said something I didn't expect. "That was taken 2 years ago, before I even met you." I didn't believe her. Not at first. Then she pulled out her old phone from a drawer. Showed me the same photo, time-stamped. Old. Different hairstyle. Even the swimsuit didn't match anything she owned now. She wasn't lying. Jake was. He knew it was old. That bartender didn't just meet her. He went through her social media, found an old photo, and made up the story. Why? To break us. To test if he could. And the worst part? My parents knew. When I called them, furious, my mom admitted it. "He told us it was just a joke. We didn't think you'd take it seriously." A joke. A fake affair accusation. On the heels of hijacking my wedding, stealing my honeymoon, publicly embarrassing my wife. That was a joke to them. I sat there in the dark for a long time that night, thinking about every moment, every time I defended him, every time I told myself he was just lost, just needed help. Just needed family. But now I knew better. Jake wasn't just immature. He was intentional. And the next day, the very next day, he crossed a line so deep I couldn't come back from it. Because he didn't just lie to me. He tried to take something from me that I can never replace. I wish I could tell you I cut him off after the fake photo stunt. That I finally did what I should have done years ago. But truth is, I hesitated. Not because I forgave him, but because I wanted to believe he was done. That maybe this time the guilt would hit him. That maybe finally he'd realize what he'd done. I was wrong. Again. It was a Friday afternoon when I got the text from my coworker, Sarah. Hey, just saw this. Thought you should know. Link. It was a post. On Jake's public account. A selfie. Him standing in front of my apartment building. Captioned. Funny how fast you can take over someone's life when they weren't strong enough to keep it. He had tagged my wife. My heart stopped. I ran to the window. Looked down. He was parked outside. Leaning against his car. Smiling. I stormed downstairs, phone in hand. My wife was at work, thank God. I didn't want her seeing this in person. I walked up to him and said, delete it. Now. He looked me in the eye and said, make me. That's when I snapped. I grabbed his phone. He pushed me back. We got into it, full shouting match in the parking lot. Neighbors came out. One of them filmed it. The last thing I remember before security showed up was Jake yelling, I could treat her better than you ever did. That stopped everything. Even the security guy looked stunned. He meant it. This wasn't about the wedding. This wasn't about the honeymoon. This wasn't even about me anymore. It was about her. I shoved him back toward his car. Told him if he came near us again, I'd file a restraining order. I meant it. He drove off, tires screeching. I went back upstairs, shaking. Sat on the couch trying to process what just happened. Then my phone buzzed again. It was a DM. From my wife. Why is Jake posting about me? She had seen it. I called her. Told her everything. The photo. The stunt. What he said. The parking lot scene. There was a long pause. Then she said, I don't feel safe anymore. That broke me. This wasn't a fight between brothers anymore. This was targeted harassment. That night, we changed our locks. Alerted our building's management. And my wife packed a bag to stay with her sister until we figured out what to do. I didn't sleep. Just sat by the door. Waiting. Watching. The next morning, I went to my parents' house. One last time. I asked them, do you know what your son did yesterday? They looked tired. Like I was the problem. My mom said he told us you attacked him. That he was just trying to make peace. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was pathetic. I told them everything. Word for word. My dad stared at me. Well, if your marriage is that shaky, maybe it's not Jake's fault. That was it. I stood up. Looked them both in the eyes. If he ever contacts me again, I'm pressing charges. And if either of you defend him one more time, don't expect to be part of my life. I walked out. No apologies. But even then, Jake wasn't. Because 1 week later, he showed up at my wife's workplace. And this time, he came with papers. After everything, the wedding, the fake cheating photo, the honeymoon, the public meltdown, I truly believed Jake had run out of ways to hurt me. I underestimated him. Badly. It started with a phone call. My wife, still staying at her sister's, called me during her lunch break. Her voice was shaking. Ryan, he showed up. At my job. Jake walked into her office building during work hours. Told the front desk he was there to deliver something personal. Then handed over a sealed envelope with both our names on it. Security didn't stop him. He left before anyone could even react. Inside the envelope? A formal civil harassment complaint. Filed against me. Jake was accusing me of threatening him, of sustained emotional abuse, public violence, and intent to intimidate a family member. And he'd submitted it to the county court. With witness statements. I couldn't believe it. I was the one who told him to stay away. I was the one who was filmed telling him to leave us alone. And he was trying to flip the script, but he wasn't done. Inside the envelope, along with the legal documents, was something worse. A printed message written like a manifesto. You're not the only one who knows how to fight. You took the spotlight. Now I'm taking it back. She deserves someone who knows how to stand up for her. You don't. I sat down. Numb. He was trying to destroy my life with the law. Pretend he was the victim. And worst of all, he dragged my wife into it. We called a lawyer the same day. Showed them the photos, the texts, the videos, even the clip my neighbor had recorded from the parking lot. The lawyer's face said it all. This isn't a complaint. This is a setup. He's manufacturing a record. Jake was building a paper trail to make me look unstable. To isolate me. Maybe even to pressure my wife. I had questions spinning in my head nonstop. Why now? What did he gain? Was this still about the wedding, or had it never been about the wedding at all? And then the lawyer asked me something I hadn't considered. Has your brother ever shown an obsession with your wife before this? I froze. I thought back. Little things. Old comments Jake made at family gatherings. A weird moment once when he called her out of your league right in front of me. The way he used to find excuses to help her with stuff, even texting her directly back when we were engaged. I remembered the time she told me Jake made her uncomfortable at a holiday party. That she caught him staring. I brushed it off. Said he was just being awkward. That he'd get over it. But what if he never did? What if this wasn't about me at all? My wife came home that night. She didn't say much. Just handed me her phone. A new text. From Jake. If he won't give you the life you deserve, I will. She hadn't responded. Blocked him. Sat next to me in silence. I looked at her and said he wants to replace me. She nodded. Quiet. Scared. We weren't just dealing with a bitter brother anymore. We were dealing with a stalker. A manipulator. Someone who believed he was entitled to everything I had, my wedding, my trip, and now my wife. The court hearing was scheduled for 2 weeks later. I was prepping documents, building our case. And then I got the final blow. From my mother. A text. One line. Jake is staying with us again. Please don't cause problems at the hearing. That's when it hit me. They knew. And now they were helping him. The day of the hearing I barely slept. 2 weeks of prepping. 2 weeks of reliving every twisted move Jake made, while my parents stood behind him like he was the one being wronged. I showed up with my lawyer. My wife came too, hand in hand with me. Quiet but fierce. Determined. I think deep down she needed to see it not just for me, but for herself. To know we weren't crazy. That this really happened. Jake walked in wearing a suit he definitely borrowed from my dad. He smiled at me like we were walking into a graduation ceremony. No shame. No fear. My parents sat behind him. My mom gave me a quick nod. My dad wouldn't even look at me. Court started. The judge asked questions. My lawyer presented everything, the photos, the messages, the threats. The neighbor's video of Jake screaming at me. My wife's testimony. Then Jake stood up. Calm. Collected. And he lied. Said I had threatened to ruin his life. Said I was jealous of how close he was to my wife. Said he feared for his safety because I had rage issues. Then he said this. I've been afraid of him since we were kids. I just never spoke up. Now I am. He painted a picture of himself as the victim. Broken. Bullied. Misunderstood. A guy who just wanted to be part of his brother's life. My mom cried. I stared at the floor. Then the judge spoke. Said there wasn't enough evidence to grant Jake's complaint, but also said I should avoid contact with him to prevent escalation. That was it. No punishment for Jake. No consequences. Just a piece of paper that told me to stay away. We walked out. Jake smiled on the courthouse steps. Lit a cigarette. Told a reporter who'd shown up that he was just glad to finally be heard. A reporter. He tipped off the media. That night, I went home. Sat in the dark. My wife brought me tea. Didn't say a word. She didn't have to. That's when I made my decision. The next day, I posted a video. One take. No cuts. Just me speaking directly. I laid out everything. Every lie. Every photo. Every joke Jake pulled. Every time my parents excused him. The wedding. The honeymoon. The fake affair. The obsession with my wife. The court stunt. I ended it like this. If this is what family means, I'm done. I'm done defending you. I'm done pretending this is normal. You don't just lose your brother today. You lose me. Forever. I hit upload. It went viral within hours. Thousands of comments. People horrified. People angry. People understanding. For the first time, I felt seen. I turned off my phone the next day and took my wife somewhere quiet. No social. No news. Just us. When we came back, my inbox was flooded. DMs, missed calls. From Jake. From my parents. From extended family who had seen the video. Too late. I wasn't angry anymore. Just done. A few weeks later, I heard Jake had moved out of my parents' place. Apparently, the internet turned on him too. His job, the one my dad helped him get, dropped him. No call. Just a notice. My mom sent me one last message. He didn't mean to hurt you. Please take the video down. We're family. I never responded.